operations, the other for readiness of the Ariane 5. The Launch Campaign Operations Manager heads up one group, and he coordinates with Mission Control for final authorization to launch, and when all the conditions are right, he then okays the automatic sequence at the 7-minute mark, which we just saw. In all, about 100 people up there. How long have you been on the project?
Oh, I've been on the project for 15 years now, and for more than 10 years I'm the project scientist. And as I said, I'm the voice of the scientist, and that's a very complex thing, because on BepiColombo we have 16 instruments on both spacecraft, and all in all there's more than 30 sensors. And so not only technology-wise, also from the science, it's a very complex mission.
Okay, we're going to hear more from you when you come back, because Johannes has never seen a launch. Excuse me. He's going to go out on the terrace with all the other VIPs and give us his reactions, hot reaction, when he comes back. So don't get lost. See you later. The split-screen image on the screen on the left, liquid hydrogen, on the right, liquid oxygen. These are the propellant feeder arms in the middle of the launcher. We'll get another shot of that when we pull back. They are putting fuel into the upper stage tanks, and you'll see the arms, and you can see them there in the center of the screen, coming out of the gantry into the upper stage. You'll see the arms pull back at 7 seconds before ignition. What are the people doing? They're going out onto the terrace there, because we have 2 terraces on either side of Jupiter that give a wonderful view onto the launch pad, which is about 15 kilometers away from us here, and that's where Johannes is gone. The DDO is going to call out.
Top à 0 moins 1 minute.
And there we are. We're into the final 60 seconds as the crowd gathering on the terraces. Give us a chance to say hello to our friends at JAXA Tokyo, Airbus in Friedrichshafen, to our industrial partners, ESA, including ESOC, where we'll go momentarily, and CNES, and to all of you following the broadcast on the internet. We hope you are enjoying it. We're going to cut away now and let you listen to the DDO as he calls out the final countdown. Watch for the cryogenic arms to open and enjoy the liftoff.
À tour de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage 2 EAP, décollage. Propulsion est nominale, la trajectoire est nominale.
Roar of engines, a lot of fire, and with BepiColombo on board, the DDO says all is well. The 2 boosters now providing 90% of our thrust, propelling the launcher along her trajectory at an ever higher velocity. 780 tons at liftoff, that's the mass. And to get that sort of mass off the ground, you need a lot of push. And push we have. She's burning 5 tons of fuel every second. 2.5 tons being burned every second in each booster, plus the core stage burning another 300 kilos of fuel every second. Ariane 5 putting on quite a show. And, I can't wait for Johannes to come back and tell us his reactions. The sky is clear. You should be able to see separation of the boosters, maybe even separation of the fairing. We'll find out momentarily. Ariane 5 now following the program and the onboard computer, which gives all the orders, including stage separation. We'll soon see that in just about 30 seconds from now. We are in the first of 4 flight phases. The first 3 are powered, and we'll describe each in turn so you can follow. Right now, the first flight phase, the single first stage engine, and the 2 boosters are burning. The boosters will each consume their 240 tons in just over 2 minutes, in just about 10 seconds. They will be the first to be extinguished, and you'll hear that from the DDO, but you'll see that on the screen. You'll see the flame out there.
Pilotage calme, trajectoire nominale.
There it is. You see the main point of light in the middle when we come back to that, and the 2 points of light on either side are the boosters. That's what it looks like up there. There's another booster on the port side, of course, out of camera range. But you see the main point of light looks like the moon in the middle, and on the side the 2 boosters flaming out, and they will fall into the Atlantic. French Guiana, in part, chosen as a base for its opening on the ocean, launches posing no threat to the local population, of course. We're waiting for Johannes to come back. Before he comes back, our next milestone, separation of the fairing. That's next up as we continue to follow Ariane with looks like a ground camera or the naked eye.
Séparation de la
The launcher making her way. The DDO has called out separation of the fairing, and this is what that looks like. There's another half on the starboard side, which is falling into the Atlantic as well. We can separate the fairing now. Why? Because we're out of the dense layers of the atmosphere, of course, over 100 meters altitude. And you can see on the bottom of your screen on the left our altitude, 140 kilometers. And on the right, our speed, 2.4 kilometers per second. We can also discard any dead weight. The fairing, excuse me, weighs 2.5 tons. So it's a good idea to get rid of it now that we can. The guests coming in after being treated to a wonderful sound and light show. On the left there is the satellite, the white boxes. Below that is the composite. One reason Kourou was chosen as the launch site was its nearby hills, where we could install radar and telemetry facilities. And that's where we're going now. This office, another place that is very active tonight, the CVI, or the Quick Look Telemetry Display Control Center. Now these teams have all the means for receiving, processing, storing, and analyzing all the data coming in from the ground stations. We'll have more on them along Ariane's flight path. The CVI is stationed atop a hill, and you just saw, not far from Jupiter. And right now these teams are following and analyzing all the key flight data coming in and reporting the flight status of the launcher back to the teams here in Mission Control. It's all part of the great information flow from points across the base to Mission Control, Jupiter, the Nerve Center. And Johannes has returned, and you are smiling. Tell us, how was it out there?
Oh, it was fantastic. I've never seen that before, and it was great.
Yeah, what impressed you the most? Was it the sound? Was it the light? Something else?
Oh, it was the brightness of the rocket when it went to the sky, and you could not see the rocket. It was like a big fireball going up to the sky, and it was really amazing.
Super. Did you see the separation of the boosters?
Yes, you could see it.
Great.
Nice.
Okay, so if that doesn't make you want to come down here and watch a launch, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what will. Next up, we want to find out...
Il reste 3 minutes de propulsion de l'EPC.
I imagine, like most missions, you had some problems. We're going to have to go to a film, but give us a first taste, and we'll continue after the film. Any problem that you solved that you remember?
Oh, BepiColombo was a bumpy ride from the beginning. We had issues with the solar panels, which were not standing the combination of heat and solar radiation. And for that reason, we had to make them much bigger and tilt them by more than 80 degrees.
All right, we'll get the details on that in a moment. First, a film on the other milestone scientific missions launched by Ariane. might remember some of those flights. Maybe you were even here in Jupiter for the launch, like Johannes was. We were just picked up by our first downrange tracking station. We promised some information on those. It's located in Natal, over the border in our neighbor Brazil, run by the Brazilian Department of Defense for CNES in an agreement with ESA. Now, we are building, BepiColombo is going to build on some of the science that was discovered by Messenger, the NASA project. How so?
Yeah, before the NASA project Messenger, we did not know much about Mercury. We only had data from flybys in the 70s, and also there we could only see one half of the planet. And even people, when they heard about BepiColombo, found it's a boring target. But all that has changed after Messenger, because we found out that Mercury is a fascinating, surprising planet with a lot of mysteries, which some things which we have never expected before. For example, formation temperatures were measured, which are much lower than expected. You would expect for a planet close to the Sun, the temperatures are much higher, but actually we found them were much lower, comparable to formation temperatures of Mars. So there could be the idea that Mercury is formed somewhere else, so that would be fascinating.
What argument did they use to say that it's a boring target?
Oh, in the beginning they said
that sounds
they had no atmosphere, only a few craters. They didn't expect life on Mercury, and for that reason, maybe think it was boring.
Okay, we have had cutoff of the lower stage engine and separation of the lower stage engine, and as you can see on the animation, ignition of the upper stage, all on time. These are 3 commands given by the onboard computer in about 13 seconds. So we are now into the final powered flight phase. It's the single upper stage engine that will burn until plus 2510, or another 16 minutes roughly. The job of the upper stage, taking the satellite to its injection point, positioning it for separation, and then releasing it. That's its propulsion role. But she also has a second role, and that comes during Ariane 5's what they call ballistics phase. Our next film from ESA, an overview on the BepiColombo mission.
Fueled and almost ready to go, the final assembly of the BepiColombo mission to Mercury. A collaboration between ESA and the Japanese space agency JAXA, BepiColombo consists of 2 scientific orbiters, a transfer module to propel them to Mercury, and a sunshield. Protected by hand-stitched ceramic thermal blankets, the entire spacecraft is 6.5 meters high and will only just fit inside the fairing of its Ariane 5 launcher. Designed to withstand temperatures of up to 450 degrees Celsius, BepiColombo is one of the most technically and scientifically complex missions ever launched.
80% of our material needs to re-qualify for this mission because we hadn't tested before in that harsh environment. So it's a real challenge to go there and to bring 2 spacecraft in an orbit around Mercury.
The first challenge is getting to Mercury. Flying directly isn't an option. The Sun's gravity means any spacecraft would be going too fast to make it into orbit. Instead, BepiColombo will take 7 years to reach its destination, combining solar electric propulsion with a total of 9 flybys of Earth, Venus and Mercury.
When we fly, we constantly brake against the Sun because we fly into the inner side of our solar system. And when you fly towards the most heaviest element there, you constantly accelerate. We don't want that. This is why we decelerate.
Once they arrive at Mercury in late 2025, the orbiters will separate from the transfer module to begin their comprehensive scientific mission in 2026. With its 11 instruments, ESA's Mercury Planetary Orbiter will study the surface and internal composition of the planet. Meanwhile, JAXA's Mercury Magnetospheric Orbiter's 5 instruments will study the planet's magnetic field. Together, the orbiters will not only reveal more about Mercury, but also the history of the inner solar system.
Because Mercury is not tilted like Earth, it's spinning almost in the orbital plane. Therefore, there are some craters on the poles which never see sunlight. And in these craters, we found water ice. And this water ice could be stable over millions and billions of years. And then that's a fantastic thing also about Mercury.
ESA science and engineering teams have been working on BepiColombo for more than a decade. With a long journey ahead of it, the launch marks only the beginning of the next stage of BepiColombo's voyage of discovery.
I'm taking Terry's place for the moment out here on the terrace because I want to introduce to you Johannes Benkoff. You heard his voice, but you haven't seen him. So if we get the camera on him or the drone, well, there we are. I have a question for you, and I may have to cut you off because we're going to go to ESOC. But briefly, mission life, BepiColombo, 8 years. Why 8 years?
Yeah, it takes us a while to go there. We need 7 years to go to Mercury, and then it's 1 year of nominal mission. We hope that we maybe can get an extension of 1 year, because the spacecraft is also designed to last 2 years in an orbit around Mercury.
How do we get an extension?
Oh, you need to make a proposal with our agency, but if everything is good, then I think I'm quite confident that we will get this.
Okay, let's get the word from ESOC. We'll go to Darmstadt. We're going to speak with Paolo Ferri, head of operations there. Paolo, can you hear us? We're coming to you live from Kourou.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Great, okay. We want to ask you a few questions. We don't have a lot of time. But first I want to ask you, what's the mood at ESOC? How would you describe it out there?
Well, everybody here is very tense, waiting for the signal to arrive. As you know, we lost the telemetry at the moment of liftoff, so we're not in contact with the spacecraft. And our job will start after the separation of the spacecraft from the rocket. So we are really looking forward to that moment.
So the mood from liftoff was what? Concentrated, focused. I don't want to say tense.
Yes. Yes, certainly tense, but everybody excited. We've been preparing for this mission for so many years. We were really looking forward to this moment. Now it's the time to go.
Okay, this moment is this moment. What happens next, both in the short term and in the longer term?
Yeah, in the short term, after we have acquired the first signal in a few minutes from now, we will have the team working here for about 2 to 3 days, getting the spacecraft ready for its long cruise to Mercury. There will be some activities like deploying antennae for the communications when the distance increases from Earth, and of course checking that all the systems are ready. Then there will be a more, let's say, a longer phase of a few months where we test the onboard systems, the payload instruments, and very important
Paolo,
will be
I'm going to have to cut you off. I'm terribly sorry. We have to go to a film, but Paolo Ferri, many thanks.
Okay, very good.
East. She will shortly be picked up by our downrange tracking station in Libreville in Africa. You're watching Arianespace Flight 245. On the extreme right is BepiColombo. Now, what are we looking at? That's the sun shield on the extreme right?
Right, we see the sun shield, and behind the sun shield, the Japanese spacecraft is hidden.
All right, we'll be back with more. We're going to go to the film on JAXA and its role on the mission.
Konnichiwa. I'm Go Murakami, project scientist of BepiColombo in JAXA. Mercury is one of the most mysterious planets in the solar system because it is very hard to explore, and in the past, only 2 spacecraft reached there. But we think Mercury has the key information to answer the questions about planetary formation, evolution, and its environment. So BepiColombo will explore Mercury and address such questions with 2 spacecraft and with various types of instruments. And our spacecraft, MEO, will focus on studying Mercury's environment because Mercury is exposed to the strongest solar wind in the solar system, and we want to understand the solar wind effect on planetary environment. We still need to wait 7 years for science data from Mercury, but I'm very excited for at the launch. And I want to say arigato to all members.
Hello, I'm Hiroyuki Ogawa, thermal engineer of MEO. I'm working on the Mercury mission for 20 years from the beginning of the BepiColombo project. The BepiColombo mission is very challenging from the thermal point of view. There have been many problems we have never experienced before. There is coming from the high temperature. We had to do many activities to solve them. The development was very, very tough. But now we are ready to launch. I'd like to say to everyone who has supported us, thank you very much for everything you did. Go BepiColombo, go MEO.
BepiColombo is an international collaboration between ESA and JAXA. When we start the collaboration, since we do not know each other, background and also the personality, and that caused many troubles. But after a few years, we know each other, our personality and their personality, and also the background, and then we can find the solution when we meet the problem. And now we are at the launch site, and just before the launch. I believe BepiColombo is a very good team, and the relation between ESA and JAXA is very good, and the relation between also the companies relating the BepiColombo is also very good. And we still have 10 years for the end of the mission, but I believe this good relation continues until the end of the mission. And also I believe BepiColombo is a model for the following mission between collaboration between JAXA and ESA. Thank you.
3 minutes to go in the upper stage burn. Let's talk about the physics, Johannes, the flybys, the gravity assist. They bring BepiColombo, we heard this morning, into the inner solar system, and we need 6 flybys around Mercury to get into its orbit. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. You need, unfortunately, a lot of energy to go into the inner solar system because you have to brake against the sun. And you need either pump a lot of fuel to go there, but since we have a very heavy spacecraft, for us the enabling technology is also use the help of the planets to gain some energy by flying by off the planet. And on the way to Mercury, we need to have 1 flyby at Earth, 2 flyby at Venus, and 6 flybys at Mercury.
In our next film, a look at the relationship between Arianespace and BepiColombo.
Uli, I know the involvement of ESA, JAXA and industries was considerable during all of those years of development and AIT, including during this 6-month launch campaign. Would you say the relationship between entities was a strength?
BEPI is a very international project with contributions of a large number of European countries, the United States, Russia, and of course Japan. As such, the teams running the development, procurement and also the launch campaign are of a very mixed nature. Working together was for us a very normal business over the years, independent from the individual's nationality. Due to the common objective to bring a reliably working spacecraft into orbit, the team spirit was one of the driving elements to work successfully over such a long period as we have done for our project.
Could you explain in a few words what will happen from separation from launch vehicle up to Mercury descent?
BEPI will separate approximately 28 minutes after launch, performs the deployment of the solar arrays, the antennas and the magnetometer boom, and then, after a small commissioning period, starts its 7 years long journey to Mercury, where we will arrive in December 2025. To reach Mercury, we need the energy from 9 planetary flyby assists, 1 time Earth, 2 times Venus and 6 times Mercury itself, before entering the Mercury orbit. Arriving there, we will jettison the MTM first, then the spinning JAXA orbiter and the structure MOSIF, which protected the MMO during cruise, before we will lower the MPO into its lower orbit by chemical propulsion.
And once BepiColombo reaches Mercury in late 2025, the orbiters, as you saw, will be released and captured by the planet's orbit. The science doesn't begin immediately, though. We'll get Johannes to explain that in a moment. Science begins about 5 or 6 months after that. We're coming up on extinction of the upper stage, and you will see on the left the nozzle will shut down. And we will be into the... There you are. And we are now in the final flight phase, the non-powered flight phase. We are coasting. With the upper stage engine shut off, we'd entered this coasting phase. Usually during this period, the composite is maneuvered and spun up in a series of operations ranging from a few seconds to a few minutes. This is to separate the first satellite and the Silda, which is the carrying structure for our second satellite, and then the second satellite in different altitudes and different positions. But we don't have a second passenger, of course, tonight. And we have just over 1 minute between extinction, which we just saw, and separation of BepiColombo. So the ballistics phase is very short. Now, we have about 3 minutes to go until separation. So a quick question. Mariner 10 discovered that Mercury, like Earth, has a magnetic field. The only other planet to have one. We don't know why.
That's correct. We don't know why, and it was a great surprise when it was discovered in 1974, because for such a small planet, nobody assumed that it could have a molten outer core, because you thought the planet is totally solidified. And that is what we would like to understand, how this magnetic field is formed, what is the effect of the sun on the magnetic field. And for that reason, we also have 2 orbiters which can distinguish between inner and outer fields. And we have a magnetometer on our spacecraft, the MPO, and 1 magnetometer on the Japanese spacecraft, MIO.
Your baby is scheduled to be separated in, I would say, half a minute. What's going through your mind now?
Yeah, I'm still not relieved.
You're going to be waiting for what you want to see, that everything happens. Right?
That's correct. I would like to see the separation going well, and then also the deployments afterwards.
And then we have to wait for confirmation, and we will get back to that. But it is a moment of high concentration as we wait the DDO's announcement. The mood here in Jupiter, like the mood in Isak, as Paolo Ferri told us, very concentrated, very focused.
Séparation BepiColombo.
There is separation. The DDO has called it out right away, and you can hear the applause. So there's the good news, at least on the scheduled program of events. However, we have to wait for confirmation. Can we get a reaction from you?
Yeah, I'm as relieved as the others, but still we are not there. We have to wait until we get the signal, and we have to wait until we have the successful deployment of our solar arrays and the antennas and everything.
So, as they say sometimes in the political world, cautious optimism.
That's correct.
I guess
yes,
is the order of the moment. We have to wait for full confirmation of separation to see if it has occurred properly. The signal will tell us that BepiColombo has been sent on her proper orbit. The solar arrays are due to be deployed about 74 minutes after liftoff, so we won't see that. But we have to see that the overall health is good, and the first signal acquisition could come in around, I think, 15 minutes. There are a few important items such as these to check before we can let the satellite officially, I guess, right, start its life and work. Arianespace, of course, and ESA taking no chances, being very thorough. For this information to come in, for this confirmation, could take a few minutes, but complete success of the mission will be accomplished and, I guess, confirmed at that time. So while we're waiting, although they look pretty cheerful down there, smiles and handshakes all around, hugs and kisses, but as Johannes said, you still want to wait for the...
That's correct, but nevertheless, it's already a great moment to see that our spacecraft is now on its way and the science can start.
Okay, while we're waiting for the confirmation and then the speeches, you told me a great story about a selfie camera that was on board. You want to share?
Yes, unfortunately, we thought in the beginning it was a clever trick that all our Nadia pointing instruments, which are the instrument.
All right, we'll get back to that. Stefan Israel with the first of the speeches.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Arianespace is delighted to announce that BepiColombo has been separated as planned on the targeted escape orbit and is now on its way towards Mercury. For its 5th mission of the year, Ariane 5 has performed flawlessly. Congratulations to all. Today's new success marks the beginning of a 7-year trip for BepiColombo, taking advantage of gravitational assistance from Earth, Venus and Mercury. What an exciting journey. After the missions Mars and Venus Express, Rosetta, Herschel and Planck, Gaia, Arianespace is very proud to have contributed to this new major scientific success. So I would like to express my deepest gratitude to ESA Science and especially to its director, Gunther Hasinger. Gunther, I think it was first time for you in CSG, so it was a good time, obviously. And ESA DG Jan Werner. Jan, thanks for being with us tonight. After BepiColombo, we are looking forward to next Arianespace mission for space exploration, the launch of the famous James Webb Space Telescope. Let me also thank ESA's partner for BepiColombo mission, the Japanese Space Agency, JAXA, which deliver the Mercury magnetospheric orbiter. In this regard, I would like to address my congratulations to Mr. Hiroshi Yamamoto, JAXA Senior Vice President. I would like also to congratulate Airbus Defence and Space, which successfully delivered the Mercury Transfer Module and the Mercury Planetary Orbiter. I want to thank Airbus Space Systems and its CEO, Mr. Nicolas Chamussi, for being in CSG tonight with us. We have with Airbus many links. Airbus is the shareholder with Safran of Ariane Group. Airbus is also a provider for Ariane thanks to its subsidiary, and Airbus is the satellite manufacturer tonight. We have 3 more satellites to deliver by the end of the year with Airbus, so obviously you are important for us. Congratulations also to all other industry in the team and notably to NEC. The success of our 5th Ariane of the year would not have been possible without our European launchers dream team. Delivered to an escape orbit, this mission was a bit special. Our engineers have had to work hard to tailor it, showing the versatility of Ariane 5. So let me double congratulate all our partners for this new success. ESA and all the member states of the Ariane program whose support is essential. Ariane Group, Ariane 5 prime and first shareholder of Arianespace, CNES, Ariane 5 Design Authority and our daily partner here in CSG, our contractors in French Guyana and all employees of the launch facility. Of course, I would like to pay my tribute to my Arianespace colleagues for this new outstanding achievement, our first towards Mercury. So I would like now to welcome to stage our customers and partners. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's really a great day, and I can tell you I'm really, really happy. Thanks to all who made this big journey so far possible. It's just the beginning of the trip, but it's already a great day for ESA. It's a great day not only for ESA. We heard already it's the first launch from CSG to another planet. It is also, of course, the first launch with an Ariane to another planet. When I thought about this mission to go to Mercury, okay, you know the distance from Earth to the Sun, 150 million kilometers. You know the distance of Mercury to the Sun, it's 50 million kilometers, so the difference between both is 100 million kilometers. I calculated the mean velocity of the spacecraft, and I came up with 28 days. And then I learned that they are not using this shortcut, but instead of that saying it takes 7 years. I said, what the hell are they doing? Why are they flying so slowly? I mean, it could be done in 4 weeks. But, and this is the secret, it is Giuseppe Colombo, who was really the father of this mission, because he said, if you do this, as a civil engineer would do it, then you are ending up directly in the sun. And this was not our intention. So we want to go to Mercury, and we want to orbit Mercury. And therefore, Giuseppe Colombo made a very special method, flybys, and we have everybody is talking about electromobility. This is electromobility, we have to say, in a very special way. We are not accelerating with electromobility, we are decelerating. This is also interesting. So we have a solar electric propulsion on board. Now an interesting number to that. We have about 580 kilograms of xenon on board. The yearly production on Earth is 600 kilo per year. So we have just 20 kilograms rest for other activities for 1 year. So this is therefore, it's a very special electric propulsion, and it's therefore very important. And therefore I can just say, let us go together to Mercury, or in Japanese, Tuishi ni susei ni ikimashou. Go, Bepi, go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much to Arianespace. Thank you very much to Jan. This is really breathtaking. We have today written history, and we have sent the most complex stack of spacecrafts that ever have been conceived into space, onto a very long journey into an environment which is truly out of the Earth, truly out of this world, hot and dangerous, and we are going there where nobody else ever, well, not quite true, but anyhow, boldly go there. So, and this is the time to really say thank you. We have already heard a lot of thanks, but I would really like to thank all the hundreds and thousands of individuals who have made this success possible. Everyone, we are standing on the shoulders of giants, and the giants are all of you. And I would first like to thank the two space agencies, ESA and JAXA, for making this possible. I would like to thank our member states for bringing the finances and bringing the energetics and the instruments on board. I would like to thank industry, particularly the lead industries in Europe, ADS and TAS, and also NEC in Japan, for making this possible and leading teams of many sub-industries and engineers that really did technology development which is unique and has never been tried before, to bring us there. The managers of the agencies are also a very important element of guiding and kind of controlling us through this very important and complicated exercise. I would like to thank the scientists, in particular the scientists who led instruments. You have heard that we have 16 individual instruments, and behind each of these instruments are teams and sub-teams and PIs and co-PIs, and I would really like to thank all of those. Their work will only start when we do the first flybys and then finally end by Mercury. We don't have to wait for 7 years. We can actually already get science when we are flying by Venus twice even maybe at the Earth flyby, we can at least calibrate the instruments, and all the Mercury flybys are also going on. And I would like to thank the operations teams who have actually worked very, very hard, trained, and are now taking over basically in this minute or in the last minute taking over the spacecraft. And I would last not least like to thank Arianespace for bringing us to the second into the exact orbit that we need, and so on. And so a huge, giant leap for mankind has happened today, but a very, very tiny step for BepiColombo, which still has to go 1 billion, whatever miles, I forgot it. And by the way, I would like to check on the health of BepiColombo. How is BepiColombo doing? And I would like to give back to Isaac to tell us about where we are standing there. Paolo, do you hear us at Isaac?
See the telemetry, the team is checking the status, everything looks very good.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Then I would like to hand over to... Yes. Yamamoto-san. Thank you very much.
Okay, good evening. My name is Shizuo Yamamoto, Senior Vice President of JAXA. It's a great honor for me to be here for the marvelous view of the successful launch of Ariane 5 carrying BepiColombo spacecraft. Firstly, congratulations to the BepiColombo project team, ESA and JAXA, who have worked so hard for many, many years. I'm very pleased to share this memorable event today with ESA as our partner of the BepiColombo missions. Especially, I'd like to express our sincere appreciation to Director General Dr. Warner and the ESA team for their efforts of this remarkable